All right. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be talking to Yvea today about the pencil, miles, and chill phenomenon that has swept across the nature journaling community in the last year or so. And she's currently signing in right now to her web browser, but I'm going to go ahead and get started with some fun little nature journaling exercises that I'm going to be doing in a moment together with Yvea as part of our interview. So if you haven't already, get your nature journaling supplies. At the very least, get some paper and something to draw with, and that way you will be able to do some of these activities together with me and Yvea. It's going to be super fun. We're going to do some I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of with some objects that I have here that I'm going to put under the camera. And of course, we're going to get to hear a lot of stuff from Evaya. I have some fun questions for her, and she's going to share about how Pencil Miles and Chill got started. And if you don't know about it, you definitely should, because it's a really fun community on Zoom that meets multiple times a week. And Evaya is doing other classes as well that we're going to hear about soon. And I'm super excited to talk to her. But let's just start off. Get a blank page ready, and we're going to do a little I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of warm up while we're waiting for Evea to show up. So get all of your journaling stuff ready. I'm going to put some clips on my paper so that it's ready to go. If you don't have these already, definitely get these at a any type of office supply store. Oh, Evea is here too, so yay. Hi, Evea. How's it going?
Good. It's good to be here with you.
Great. Well, I was just getting started, getting ready to do some. I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of exercises. So, which I was planning on doing some with you. I think it'll be really fun. I've got some cool stuff here. So, do you have your journaling stuff with you?
I do. Let me just grab it.
Okay, great. So, just as long as that is somewhere within reach, that'll be awesome. Great. And let's just go ahead and start off then. So, it was really fun interviewing you in a previous episode about how to make time for nature journaling. So you have been on the show before, but it's been a long time coming organizing this, and I think a lot of people are interested in knowing more about Pencil Miles and Chill, and also just your background as a nature journaler. So maybe you could start off explaining from your perspective, what are Pencil Miles? What's this whole idea of Pencil Miles?
Okay, so I first heard about, sorry, am I?
Go ahead and keep talking a little bit more, and I'll tell you.
Okay. So what I've heard about, so where I first heard about Pencil Miles was either from you or Jack or Akshay. And it pretty much means that the more you draw, then the better you get at it. So it means drawing as much as possible, not trying to get everything down into one picture, but making lots of pictures or lots of words or lots of numbers, that the more you practice at something, the better you get at it. So use your hands, work them out, Pencil Miles. That's what that means.
Great. Yeah, I think I first heard about it. I'm pretty sure Jack coined the term, but I definitely heard about it from him first. So, and then do you have any pages in any of your recent journals that would show examples of Pencil Miles?
Yes, absolutely. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here we go. So this was from a class that Jack recently taught. And instead of getting overly hung up on just one page, I tried to draw a bunch of over and over and over again. So not just drawing the bird one time, but drawing the bird lots of times.
Cool. And so besides, like you mentioned, getting better through practice, besides that, do you feel like the idea of Pencil Miles has other benefits?
I think so. I think that it's also about habit building. So as the more and more you practice at, whether it be nature journaling or making observations or going for the things that are difficult for you. So looking for that growth edge that I know you talk about sometimes, I really am big on that concept. Then the better into the habit you get at trying it, so that after a while, it's not so scary to try it. And then it's not only just getting into the habit of doing that one thing, but just in general being more active as a nature journaler so that it becomes more a way of life instead of just an activity you do sometimes.
Cool. Yeah, that seems like it could help, the focusing on the quantity over quality, even though that sounds so weird, actually is really helpful in sort of like liberating ourselves from like expectations and just letting the drawings come out.
Yeah.
Great. And then now tell us tell us the origin story of the whole Pencil Miles and Chill and how that got started and what it is, so that people who don't know about it or people who've been doing it maybe and are curious about how it got started can learn a little bit about the backstory.
Absolutely. So Pencil Miles and Chill was actually begun by Gargi and Akshay, some amazing nature journalers and some of the kindest people I've ever met. About a year ago, the pandemic began, and Gargi and Akshay also dance, and so they're part of a dance community. And they told me that the dance community that they're in stayed together, it stayed connected, and that meant a lot to them with the isolation of COVID and the pandemic. And so they wanted to bring the same thing to the nature journal community. So Gargi began a Google document where you could sign up to either come and just hang out and draw together, like what we do currently in Pencil Miles. And then it later on evolved into if you have a certain thing that you want to teach, like maybe Kate Rudder wants to teach about zooming in, and or maybe Miriam Morrill wants to teach about fire. And so somebody who would want to do that would put their name up, and then other people would sign up for it. So it became very much like a way to continue being interactive with each other, and even more so with people you don't even normally see, because online is a lot more accessible.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, so that's how Pencil Miles and Chill got started, was with Gargi and Akshay.
And then how come, and then now, I mean, I remember that at the beginning, but now whenever I think of Pencil Miles and Chill, it's synonymous with you. So how did that happen? And how have you kept that going?
Okay, so I think approaching summer of last year, I guess everybody was getting busy, really busy, so the Google Sheet wasn't nearly as active. And I was in Brian Higginbotham's Saturday morning class with the Great Valley Nature Journal Club, also online. And he encouraged us to write down our intentions for July to help make us more focused, think about whatever habits we want to build or whatever techniques we want to work on, or just something, whatever thing we wanted to have an intention for as nature journalers. And I had a bunch of unfinished pages that were driving me nuts, the whole thing where you get overly like, I must finish it all. And so I wrote down as one of my intentions that I wanted to finish those up. And then I remembered Gargi and Akshay having the group who kind of hung out together. And I thought, maybe if I have people around, then it'll be nice. So it was purely for selfish reasons. And so I arranged for a Friday and a Saturday, and it was originally supposed to just be one, but then people in different time zones had different ones. So I was like, okay, fine, both of them. And okay, great. That was 2 days of sort of hosting something, and I've got social anxiety. So it's done, it's over. And then Akshay writes on the Facebook post, hey, so Yvea, would you consider doing this again? And Dak Laws is like, hey, Yvea, yeah, I agree with Akshay. Would you consider doing this again? And I was thinking about it. And then I was in Brian's class, and he's like, so yeah, Yvea's going to do this again every week.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I was like,
I just have to I'm trying to lower my chair, so I'm like, we're on the same level here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then, so how long has it been now that you've been doing it?
Since July, so that's like, I'm bad with counting months. Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
April, May. So I guess it's about like 7 or 8 months. Is that?
Dang, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of sessions. And so what is it? Describe for the people who haven't been there before. I think there's some people in the audience who've been there, but for people who haven't been to it before, describe how it goes and why it's helpful, or like, what are some of the reasons that people come to it? Oh, Melian is here too.
Hi, Melian. Melian comes to Pencil Miles and Chill sometimes too.
Cool.
So how that pretty much goes is Friday mornings at 9 and Saturday afternoons at 3. We gather together. Folks you don't have to pre-register anything. Folks can just come and sign on as long as they've got the link. We hang out, we we work in our nature journals, maybe we're finishing up old pages, or maybe we're starting new studies. Or in some cases, if people aren't in the mood to nature journal, we've had even friends who just sit there and kind of knit and do other things. But the idea, the main purpose, like what Gargi and Akshay began it with, is community. So that people don't have to be alone during the pandemic when everybody is so isolated. And so we chat about whatever we want, as long as it's related to nature journaling and like no politics. And our only rule in our group is that we're kind to each other. Just knowing that we all come from different backgrounds, either in our art or our nature journaling or just in our life experiences. And so just to remember that and to be kind to each other.
That's really cool. So it sounds like a great place, a very inclusive place for people to come spend time together virtually. And that seems like that helps people just enjoy the community aspect. And it also helps people keep up with their nature journaling habit because it's easier when you're in a group. That's really cool. I'm going to look over at the comments and just say hi to some of the people and names. I see Linda Napier is here. Hi. And go ahead and say if these are people that you know from Pencil Miles and Chill. Melian is here. Jasmine R is here. Anetta from Nature Sketches is here. Jean R is here. And Suzanne Marshall is here. And those are all the people that I can see from the comments. And welcome everybody else. There's people watching from Facebook and also on YouTube. So thanks for joining in with me and Yvea. So if you had to, it sounds like the main idea behind Pencil Miles and Chill is community. Is that right?
Yes.
So, and what do you think is the main, maybe that's the answer to my next question, but what is the main need from the community that Pencil Mile and Chills is like answering or providing?
It's community, it's company, it's building friendships, conversation. Like I remember the first time that I'd led the group, I was so nervous that I told people that we didn't have to talk if we didn't want to. We could just sit and draw quietly. And then, thank goodness, Joy Colangelo said, well, the main purpose for me even getting online is so that we can talk. So can we please talk? And she said that because then that became pretty much the most important thing about it. There's also having support. So we have people who come on and say, hey, I'm struggling with whatever thing is with nature journaling. Does anybody ever do this or have ideas? And so we can talk about that, or supplies. And then consistency is another big thing because it happens every single week. Then it's a consistent place for people to be able to show. And also, it's a nature journaling in a setting that is very low stress. And I know that we're isolated, but at the same time, there's a million different workshops you can do online and get really, really overwhelmed and not feel like you really have a spot to just sit down and relax and do your thing. And so that's another thing that it offers. Oh, and the coveted book list.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, well, it turns out that a number of us have a minor, not really, a huge book addiction. And so we wound up talking about books so much that Janai Southworth created another Google Doc where people can list books that we've, mostly about nature or nature journaling or art or how-to kind of books. And
that sounds really cool.
It's an awesome, like, not only do you list out the books we've read, but also people can go on and comment on the book so that eventually it can be sort of a dialogue. So you can see, oh, so-and-so said this about this book. That's
a great idea. That is a great idea. Oh my gosh.
It's like at 5 pages.
I'm so disorganized about my books and book lists, but that sounds very well organized and like a great system. And I've only been to one Pencil Mile and Chill, but it was super fun. And I also definitely relate to the thing you're saying about there being so many workshops. It's kind of crazy. And it seems like you're in a lot of them and are able to participate in so many. And so maybe just, I'm going to put a link later to that episode where I talked to you about how to make time for nature journaling. But could you give any tips for people, or maybe just words of motivation or support for people who are struggling or feel like they can't make time to go to more nature journaling workshops? Or do you have any words of wisdom about that?
I absolutely do. So the first one I would say, and I know I say this in the video that you're going to share too, but the first one I would say is to go easy on yourself. Um, we talk about that. We try to mention that, but I think that people still, I can speak for myself too, we all sort of have trouble doing that for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so go easy on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, another one is that consistency is helpful, but if you need to take a break from nature journaling for a bit, go ahead. It's still going to be there when you get back. And if the big page, if you have a big notebook and it intimidates you, then there's different things you can do about that. You can
Mm-hmm.
either make it so that you don't put, you can do only a little bit of the page. If I remember there would be times I would be doing weed inventories and I'd have to leave the page after only getting to draw maybe 1 or 2 weeds for the
Mm-hmm.
next week when I'm in the garden. That's okay. You don't have to finish a full page.
Mm-hmm.
Or alternatively, oh dear, where did it go now? Alternatively, apologies. Well, I can't find my nature journal one for my recent exploits in habitat restoration, but this will do. Get a smaller book if you need.
Mm-hmm.
Easier to finish pages, more dopamine slosh. I remember Jack saying that when he tried a smaller book.
Uh-huh.
So don't be limited by the size of your medium.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's those things. Or another thing I think is kind of fun is to draw on lined paper, because when you get like a book like this, then people aren't thinking, oh, this is just, it's not as pretty as that. And so it takes away a lot of the pressure, especially if you're somebody who is a lot into words and still kind of nervous about doing art. So, so I just wish I could reference everything that you say in your mindset video and your training. That for me was really big. Just thinking about like finding the things that motivate you, finding the juice, and starting with that, so that way, every time you think about nature journaling, you think about that one thing you're excited about.
Yeah.
And
that's cool. That's really great advice. I'm trying to practice not reading the comments while talking to my guest, because I noticed in previous videos, like my eyes keep like darting to the side and it looks like I'm not paying attention to my guest. So now I'm going to take a moment and look over here and see, because I think people have been posting a lot, but someone on Facebook, I don't know what their name is, said, wow, Yvea, I was thinking of the fact that your birthday gift was restoring ecosystems. Now each time I see a little piece of land, I think Yvea would restore this. I can and should do this. Thanks for being an inspiration. That is really sweet. Thank you. And sometimes when people post from Facebook, we can't see their names on here. Jasmine just posted a bunch of smiley faces. Linda said yes. And that's here, I'll share this one for Melian also.
Yeah. Pencil Miles and Chill is a virtual place to hear other people and also to see others' pages. Yep. I love it when Melian, sometimes Melian comes on the Saturdays, and it's always really fun to talk with her.
Cool. And then Jasmine is just likes the advice about leaving the page unfinished, or not feeling like that it's necessary to finish the page. This is the Facebook user is Mirabelle. Okay, so, and if people want to find out, people who don't know about Pencil Miles and Chill, how can they find it? And do they have to be on Facebook to join in, or how does it work?
So for a while there, I would put the link on Facebook, but Jack recently did something really awesome. And on his webpage, he created the community calendar. So different people can post all of their different events on a particular calendar. It's not the same as his main calendar. If you were to click on that, you'd go a couple links below that. And so Pencil Miles and Chill is on that now too.
That is so cool. I'm just going to put a link to Jack's calendar, and people can find it there. That is such a great resource, and I'm so glad that Jack is doing that. So I'll go ahead and post that here in case anyone's curious. It seems like a lot of the people that are watching right now, at least the ones who are participating in the chat, already know about Pencil Miles and Chill, so that's really cool. But just for those who don't, you can copy and paste this link here. If you're familiar with Jack's website already, he does have this whole nature journal community calendar now, which is really, really cool. And so when is your next Pencil Miles and Chill, Yvea?
Next Friday at 9.
Okay, so today is the 21st, so that means the 26th. So let me find that on his calendar, and I'll go ahead and post that link directly to that so people can find that. That is super exciting. And how has it been for you leading it? What is it like leading it?
Okay, it's the folks at Pencil Miles already know about me because I have social anxiety. So for
Uh-huh.
me, leading it is kind of a bit of a growth edge. But the thing is that the people in Pencil Miles are so kind. All of them are my friends now. And so in terms of having social anxiety, I couldn't think of a better group of people to have social anxiety around because they're always very kind to me and also very understanding. And, other people in the group can relate to. So
Cool.
that's been a pretty big growth edge for me. And what I found that's interesting is that I spend most of my time looking at the gallery view of Pencil Miles, um,
Mm-hmm.
because the conversation in the community is so important. I spend most of it watching to make sure that everybody's getting a chance to speak,
Hmm.
and that everybody is like because of course, as per Zoom, we all start talking at once sometimes. That's just what
Mm-hmm.
happens on almost every Zoom call because we're not all in person, and then you get weird computer stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'll pay attention to everybody who wanted to speak. And if I notice that maybe one person afterwards doesn't speak up when there's time to speak, I'll ask them, "Hey, so and so, were you about to say something?" And I think that that's important to do because sometimes people can get shy, or they might feel like their voices, like maybe some
Yeah.
people have trouble using their voices. And
Mm-hmm.
so everybody's voice is important. And so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it will be that, or sometimes I would look for self-help articles online to figure out how to facilitate conversation better. Um, so it's a serious growth edge, but it's also one of the biggest highlights of my week.
That's so cool. It sounds like there's a whole level of sort of meta learning in facilitating that class for you. Wow, I feel like we could talk about Pencil Miles and Chill forever, but I think it would be really fun to get a little bit more background information about you that maybe some people don't know already. So, could you talk a little bit about how you got started with nature journaling? Yeah, that would be awesome to hear a little bit about that.
So, okay, so for the starters, the way that I first even got like an inkling of what nature journaling even was through you.
Hmm.
Not only through your Facebook, but also because you had invited me um, to a tracking workshop
That's right, at Lake Merritt.
at Lake Merritt, and even though most of that was focused around clues and looking through nature as if you were Sherlock Holmes and then trying to figure out what happened, what each critter was doing, or etc. I noticed that you were drawing the prints that you
Mm.
and then I remember the second workshop we tried to draw more flowers. I
Mhm.
have those drawings right over here too.
Cool.
That was back before I really understood the whole thing about drawing
Mhm.
with the nature journaling. So I was very shy.
Mhm.
Um, so these were, I guess, my first nature journaling drawings. And
Cool.
oh yeah,
So
these
was that like 2014 or no 2015 or something like that?
yeah, it was. Wait, no, was it 2015? I feel like it was 2016. Oh yeah,
Okay.
here we go. These were like difficult for me, and
Mhm.
at the time I was very self-conscious about that. But now looking back, I'm like, oh, pencil miles.
Uh-huh.
I wish that I'd been a bit more free with it, and I could have filled the entire page and perhaps like three more trying to get that difficult flower that
Uh-huh.
day. But that's where I first had heard about it. But then, um, right around the same time period, my godmother told me about Jack Laws.
Mhm.
She was a school librarian and has worked at a bunch of different schools in the district. Um,
Mhm.
but the particular school that she mentioned was this it was the school for high schoolers who had spent time in juvenile hall or
Mhm.
who were having challenges in the regular schools in the school district. And so they would go to her school, and she wrote a grant and got Jack to come and visit her class. And he brought a stack of his journals and showed the kids.
Mhm.
And then he took them outside to nature journal. And what struck her was that they loved it so much that they didn't want to come back inside. keep
Of
nature going
course.
with him. And
Uh-huh.
these are inner city kids who maybe, I don't know how much time they would have spent in nature beforehand, but he
Yeah.
helped them find that wonder. And so I was like, who is this guy? He sounds really cool. And so I went to a workshop of his a few months later out in the Presidio. And on my way out the door, there was just a really small act of kindness. He was in the middle of teaching, but he still took the time to wave goodbye. And I came back because he was kind. And then I
Yeah.
learned later on that this was perfect for some of my life, like for some of my life goals that I still have to fulfill.
Yeah.
Fit in really well with what I needed to do.
Yeah, that's so cool. And that sounds, there's so many parallels. I've asked a lot of people about how they got started with nature journaling, and there's often these sort of parallels. I guess one question that I like to ask people when they share about that is, do you feel like with some people it just clicks and with some people it doesn't? Or because it sounds like in some ways you went from 0 to 100 really quickly,
Yes.
like a Lamborghini or something. So what thoughts do you have around like nature journaling? Just as soon as some people hear it explained or they have one interaction with Jack and then they're just like, boom, like, how do you think that works?
That's such a hard question to ask because the community that we create and nature journaling itself are appealing on so many different levels. So people might have different points of entry. For some people, it might be because they like doing the art and drawing the pictures, and then maybe over time they learn that it doesn't have to all be the pretty pictures. I know a lot
Mhm.
of people come in through art, and a lot of us, most of us, just plain up love nature. Maybe sometimes it's a specific bit of nature, like, oh, I'm a plant nut, or maybe there's a lot of birders.
Mhm.
So it might be an interest that somebody already has, but then the idea of getting to write down what they see is really freeing. And then
Yeah.
a lot of us, it's just plain the community that Jack has created really, really values kindness. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of us don't take that kindness for granted. We can't. We can't take
Right.
kindness for granted. And so that's the sort of thing that makes us stay in the community,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think.
Wow. That's beautiful. Um, wow. That is super beautiful. So the next question I have, or I also wanted to point out, what are you're teaching other classes now as well. Could you share some of these other classes that you're teaching?
Yeah. Right now, it's just plant families in our foods.
Hmm.
That's just a 7 week thing. So I think we have 3 more weeks. I might add on a second. I might add on an eighth one. So we might have 4 more classes.
Oh, cool. And
Um,
that's also on Jack's, would that also be on
yeah,
Jack's calendar? Okay, great.
yeah.
Cool.
Monday nights at 5. And I also record them and post them on my YouTube. So those are accessible to people too.
Cool.
And that one is, I know that for some folks, like botany might be a new thing that they're getting into because maybe they're more into the birds, or people have different things that they're interested in. And so um, the idea of the class is to help it become easier to look at and see plants. It's not about memorizing facts, even though we are focusing on different families. You don't have to memorize things. It's about being able to eventually look into a flower and be like, oh, I see these little parts here, what does that mean? Or oh, this flower part's missing, what does that mean? Or what does this combination mean when you put it all together? And so it's to make it a little bit less stressful and a bit more fun to look inside of plants and try to understand them.
That's really cool. That's super awesome. I'm going to share this question here from Jasmine, and see if you have an answer for that.
Oh, do I have a nature journal page I'm really proud of or that I look back on? That's a really good question. Um, you know what? Yeah, there was one that I would look back on quite a lot. Hang on a second. It's over here in Capricornus. Let me just find it. Is it there? Not there. Oh yeah, here we go. This one was challenging, but for some reason, this is the one I look back on that I'm really proud of. So I'd gone by myself out to Ocean Beach to try to understand what the dunes were like, because I had this idea that I was going to be crazy and try to restore it all by myself, which of course, no. do it with the professionals. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I went out there and I began asking questions. And a question that got me interested for a really long time, sorry, this mirroring is weird on here, was which plants grow on which slopes.
Mm.
And so then I was trying to draw them. I couldn't make everything absolutely perfect with drawing the dunes. And I wound up writing a ton of really, really messy questions. But
Mm-hmm.
I figure that this is sort of like how it began to feel, yes, this is nature journaling and my interests coming together. And it was when I began to I realized when I was making this page that my juice and also my bread and butter are the questions. Are the
Mm.
questions. And so sometimes I would look back on this page just to remember that this is how I began to feel more like myself when I was nature journaling.
Wow, that's really deep. Finding out. Yeah, that's really cool. The way you said that. Wait, can you say that again?
Gosh, what did I say? I said that okay, I realized a bunch of different things. I realized that my bread and butter and the juice, although I didn't know the terms yet, were the questions,
Mm-hmm.
because the questions gave me the greatest satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that it was okay to make a messy page and write all my notes in random bits. And I also learned that this is where nature journaling came together with my interests. The thing that already is my heart and soul, which is restoration work, and
Yeah.
I feel most like myself when I was sitting down to do this kind of work.
Wow, that's beautiful. Cool. Well, before transitioning to actually doing a little bit of that here on the show, I wanted to just share this comment from Anietta on Facebook in reference to, I think, something that she's talking about that you do when you're facilitating.
Yeah. And then that way, yeah, exactly what you said. People don't have to, nobody is ever forced to speak in pencil miles and chill if they don't want to. I mean, I try not to call out people. Sometimes I'll just check in with people a little bit to see if they wanted to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't have to if they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if I notice somebody seemed like they were going to say something, it's totally okay if afterwards they say, no, I wasn't going to say anything, or it doesn't matter, I don't want to talk about it. So thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, let's do a little bit. I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of right now, I have some different objects here. And for people who are watching, oh, here, Linda, let's cover this right now while we're at it. What is your YouTube channel?
Oh God. Like, I want to say that my handle on that is a really, really dorky name I came up with a while ago called Moving Flash 415. I'll type that in. So if I search for that on YouTube, I should be able to my page.
I'm trying to search for it right now. Moving Flash 415.
Yeah, that was from my days where I was more into anime. Oh yeah, here we go. I found it. Okay.
Can you post it into the comments?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's see here. Uh-oh, where did you go? I'm sorry. Okay, there you are.
Private chat.
Yeah, I got all confused. I'm used to.
No, okay. Can you post in the regular comments?
Yes. Wait.
If you can't, I'll just copy. I can't remember if you are able to do that.
It doesn't let me.
Okay.
I'll give.
Here, I'll copy it. I'll copy it from the private chat.
Okay, my computer hates me. I don't know why my computer is like this.
Is that really the right link? It just says.
No, my computer is just being annoying. I really apologize for the technical difficulties.
It's okay. We can always post it in the description later.
Okay.
Link to it, and I'll post it down here for right now. Just if you search on that, you should be able to. Actually, here, let me just find it on YouTube real quick. This will only take a second. And then everybody else who's watching at home, go ahead and get your nature journaling stuff ready, because we are about to do some. I notice. I wonder. It reminds me of. So I found one of your here. I found your channel, and copying it. So if people copy and paste this, they should be able to get to Evea's channel. Oh, I should post that to Facebook also. That is Evea's channel. Okay, great. So is everybody ready to do I Notice, I Wonder, It Reminds Me Of? So we can do it actually, if you want to, you can include a sketch and you can write down some of your observations, but we can also just do it maybe just between the two of us. Yvea, we can just verbally, and maybe people could even post in the chat, but we could just kind of round robin and go back and forth. I guess it wouldn't be a round robin, but more like ping ponging observations. So I'm gonna get the first thing ready, and we're gonna do it like, let's be pretty strict about it and pretend like we almost are aliens and don't really know what we're looking at, and just keep it pure observations and not like what we know about botany, for example, because I know you know a lot of different things too, a lot of different plants and stuff like that. So for this first one, let's just assume we don't know what we're looking at here. All right, go ahead. You start first. What are some things that you notice?
I notice that there's this kind of thickness to the shape. At one part, it looks almost like a cone, a
Okay.
round cone. And
okay, I'll go. Let's start ping ponging. I think it'll be fun to ping pong.
okay.
I notice the color is not even over the whole thing.
I notice that there are some strings kind of dangling off it in parts.
Okay. I notice there's some papery things on it too.
Ooh. I noticed that when you tap the papers, some of them flick off and others just make a really cool, crisp noise.
I noticed that they're a darker color than this background color, the papery things.
Ooh, I noticed on one of the tips that I see some magenta.
I
Yeah.
noticed there's also magenta in some places underneath the papery things.
I noticed that the textures seem very different. Some parts smooth and other parts quite rough looking.
I notice that these papery things, some of them are shaped like triangles, or a lot of them are shaped like triangles. Should we go into I Wonder now?
Sure.
Okay. I wonder how much it weighs.
I wonder how it smells.
I wonder how it tastes.
I wonder what it would look like if we were to cut it open.
Oh. I wonder what would be the most informative way to cut it.
I wonder what's going to happen with those quinacridone pink parts. Are they going to stay like that, or are they going to change?
Great question. I wonder what the orientation of this means, or if is some type of up or down on it.
I wonder if the overall color is going to change at all, or if it's going to stay consistent.
I wonder if the purple color is related to where these brown things are.
I wonder if, I apologize for this one, I wonder if pulling off the brown things is going to cause it problems.
I wonder what problems would be like for this thing. I want to zoom in on that part more.
I wonder if it's alive.
Yeah, that would be a good question to get some answer to. I wonder how we could figure out if it's alive.
Ooh. I wonder where it came from.
I wonder if it's from this part of the world. Ooh, I found something different, a different looking structure. Look at this. It reminds me of a baby. Okay, let's do It Reminds Me Of.
Okay. It reminds me of one of those weird, like, Full Metal Jacket robots, like, raising up their arms, or
yeah. It reminds me of a rhizome. Let's go into you can bring in all your plant knowledge now. No need to pretend like you're an alien.
It kind of reminds me of a ginger, except really shiny compared to ginger. Yeah.
Not as dried up as this ginger. Yeah, it reminds me of some type of like lily or something. This reminds me of a baby, the little side one there, or almost like a garlic. All right, great. That was fun. Okay, and then all right, next one. Are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay, let's do a quick sketch of this, and then do our I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of.
Got it. Ooh.
All right, so let's go ahead and people at home, you can sketch along with us too. Let's do like just a quick 3-minute sketch or so of this one. How to simplify these patterns here. What's most important? And we're gonna pretend like we still don't know what this is, for at least for our I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of. Whoops. We're getting some pencil miles in. Whoa. Okay. All right, are you almost ready for I notice it, I wonder, it reminds me of?
Almost.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready when you are.
Okay. So let's just go ahead and ping pong our I notices. I notice that it's longer than it is wide.
I notice that it is vaguely cylindrical.
Okay. I notice that the ends are this end is very different from this end.
I notice a star in the crosswise shape. How beautiful.
Okay. I notice these projections off of the ends.
I notice that the projections run down the sides in a fairly straight line.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that there's 5 rows of projection clusters.
I notice that the top is a darker brown and it's a different color than the sides.
Okay. How do you know that's the top?
Oh, okay, you got me there. Good point. Yeah, you're
Um,
the
I
rounded part.
I noticed that there's this sort of like gray. It reminds me of like water stains on the side. See that?
Mm-hmm. I noticed that when looking at the protrusions on one of the sides, that there are 7 that I could see.
Okay, so you can count 7 of those.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, I meant like clusters going up the side.
Oh, okay. And I'm also noticing there seem to be 7 of the individual projections on each one of the clusters too.
Ooh, I didn't.
One coming straight up, and then 6 around it. 6, or wait, 6 or 7. There's 7 or 8 on a lot of these. I'm also noticing some weird white things up here and there too.
Mm. You already had noticed this, but that one of the protrusions is longer than the others on some of the clusters.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm noticing some fiber-looking things in the middle there, almost like a wheel pattern.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
I noticed that that middle part of the star there, from my perspective, I can't tell if that looks like it's creamy or yellowy creamy, but the flesh around it seems to be, or not necessarily flesh, the broader area around it seems to be sort of a yellowy cream color, and then the very center seems to be either a white or an off-white. But it's
Yeah,
the
so
angle.
there's definitely a color variation on the top. All right, cool. Let's go into I wonder.
I wonder how bad it would hurt to try to bite that thing.
Yeah, I wonder if anything does bite it in nature.
Ooh. I wonder if you can drink something from the inside, or if it's moist.
Yeah, I wonder how much, what percentage water content it is.
Hmm. I wonder how the surface feels.
I wonder what these little bumps are.
I wonder what that center dark area is on. Yes. I wonder what that center thing is. The small bits that appear to be cracks in them. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if that goes all the way through to this side.
Oh, nice. I wonder why the protrusions in the pattern that they're in. Why only on those ridges? Why not everywhere on it?
Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's an answer to that question.
I wonder.
Look at how that looks like a mirrored. I wonder how that pattern there got that way where it looks the same on both sides.
Ooh, that's a good
I wonder how this shape forms. Like if this is something that grows, how does it grow into this shape? I'm noticing now that there's another star in here or a pentagon in here. Hold on, let me see if I can get the white balance better.
Oh,
Do you see that? And it's a pentagon in the middle.
oh yeah, there it is.
And
That
it's not lined up with it's lined up with the opposite of these other ridges, like the where the points are lined up with the indentations out here.
that is so cool.
Yeah, that's something worth drawing. Okay, let's do it reminds me of.
Reminds me of a star fruit.
It reminds me of a cactus.
It reminds me of Kirby.
Who's Kirby? Wait, Kirby wasn't like the video game
Yeah,
Kirby?
as opposed to our friend from, yeah, I meant the video game guy. Yeah.
It reminds me of um, a columnar cactus.
Mm.
I'm not having very creative ones. I'm just having very practical ones.
But the kind of sheen of the skin and the dark green color reminds me of a cucumber.
Ooh, yeah, definitely. All right, great. Well, that was a fun one. Okay, ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay. And also just one thing, I'm going to give a little backstory on this. This is a piece of a cactus that I cut, and because it had the flat end on this side, this is actually, when it was actually growing this way. This was the top up here, and this was near the bottom. There was another segment, but when I cut it, this part was round at the bottom, so it wouldn't stand up very easily this way. So I've had it resting in my kitchen this way for like some weeks now, and I'm noticing these weird things here that are just under the skin right now, those yellow things. See, there's another one there. Well, here's one that's coming out, and I think these are actually going to be roots. And the weird thing is they're all pointing. So far, here's another one that's getting ready to come out. They're all pointing that way, down as the way it's been standing up. But this is actually this plant was originally growing with this as the top. So like the roots don't care about that, but somehow it seems like the roots know which way is down by gravity maybe or something else, irrespective of which was the original top of the plant. I kind of want to do an experiment on that, and I'm just going to keep it upright like this, the opposite way, and see if the roots continue to do that. Okay, so our next thing that we're going to practice, I notice, I wonder it reminds me of, is coming up here. So get ready. We can do a quick sketch first, and then we can do I notice on it. So here's the next one. Go ahead and do a quick sketch, and then we're going to do I notice on it. Is it focused? Surprisingly hard to draw. All right, you almost ready for I notice? I notices?
Almost, yeah.
Okay. For those of you who are participating at home, go ahead and post some things that you notice about this in the comments. And remember, when we do I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of the I notice is observations. It's what you notice. It's not what you know or think you know or ideas that you have or facts that you've remembered. It's direct observations from nature. So what are your direct observations about this item? Not external information that you're bringing in from elsewhere, but what you directly see. And I think this object really makes it clear that that is a mental exercise that we don't usually practice. We go around with names of things and information we have about things, some of it from direct experience, but a lot of it is not what we're directly observing, like in terms of shapes, colors, patterns. It's things that we already hold in our head, knowledge or stories or information or things like that. And there's a big difference there. Okay, I notice an uneven surface.
I noticed that it is almost a circle.
I notice that the biggest discrepancy from the circle is this sort of bump over here.
I notice, I don't know what the right word is, almost like wrinkles or small lines that kind of indent into the roundness of it, the surface.
Around the outside or on the top?
On the top.
I mean, I shouldn't say top, on this side.
Yes.
I noticed sort of square, almost square, square patterns. Do you need to check in on somebody, or are you good?
I think I do need to check in on somebody. I apologize.
Okay. I'll just keep going.
All right.
I see that Jasmine is noticing that she's starting to feel hungry. I'm noticing a lot of sort of square patterns. I'm also noticing that the composition is not homogeneous, so there are different looking chunks inside. I'm noticing that there's dark pieces and also what seem to be light pieces of different material. I'm noticing several layers of cracks. Like if I look really closely into here, I'm noticing smaller cracks. And let's flip it over and see what we can notice from the other side.
Different texture.
I'm noticing less deep cracks on the side. I'm noticing a different color. I think I'm noticing more of the dark things on this side.
Yeah.
It also seems to be flatter on this side. I'm going to hold it up in cross section. I'm noticing the biggest discrepancy. I'm going to make my camera closer. I'm noticing the biggest discrepancy in the circle that we noticed before is has a different texture than the rest. You see how that's sort of a smoother texture and that is more porous?
Yeah.
And there seems to be a rim around the outside that has that different texture than in the middle.
I noticed that too. And the texture almost on the side seems like pockmarked. Almost like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, keep going. What else do you notice?
mm, I I noticed that bits of it seem to have fallen off onto, oh my God. I noticed that I'm suddenly filled with envy because I see part of it's missing and I know where it went.
What?
I'm
Okay, let's do I wonder now.
okay. Um, I wonder how good that tastes. Okay, because I'm gonna guess that it got maybe eaten, but maybe it didn't get eaten. Maybe part of it fell off. But if it were edible, I wonder how it tastes.
Okay,
I wonder
great.
where that missing bit just went.
Great. So I think this is a really good example of how hard it can be with I notice to practice being sort of objective and looking at things without identifying them for what they are, but also just reminding ourselves that I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of is a really good way to backtrack our thinking. And there's things that if you skip ahead to like what you assume or what you know about it, there's things that you won't notice. And this is more obvious with this cookie, but in nature, it's really important because, for example, there's a lot of plants that look like cactus that people will say, "Oh, it's." I noticed that it's a cactus. That's not something that you notice. That's something that you know or you think you know. And the truth of it is that with cactus, a lot of times people are wrong. There's a lot of plants that look like they're cactus, but they're like euphorbias, for example. So practicing, I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of in the proper order is really powerful tool for if you ever figure out that you're wrong about something, going back and doing I notice, I wonder, reminds me of is a really powerful way to do that. Let's just do one more quick sketch and then let's go back into some more fun questions that I have for you. So here is our next item. We won't do I notice, I wonder, it reminds me of, but let's do a quick sketch of it. Let me see if I can get a better, there we go. So go ahead and do, everybody at home, you can do a quick sketch of this one as well. Oh, the color just changed a lot. I'm sorry about that.
It's interesting noting that that's what the light does, though.
I know. It's really interesting the difference between I did a couple color matching things on Zoom and found out that it makes the camera really can change the color quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
But that's okay because we can just focus for the quick sketch on the shape of it. And the shape itself is quite interesting. That reminds me, me, Brian, JP, and Lori are going to be doing a watercolor class coming up pretty soon for the Great Valley Nature Journal Club, I think on April 17th.
Excellent.
So that should be fun.
That sounds like I'll be there. Was it you and Jack who once said that you can either do color matching or value, but not both? I feel like
Oh, that might have been him. I think sometimes when you are really focused on trying to get the color quite right, you can't get the value, but I've never heard it put so directly that you can't do both perfectly. I would have to think about that a little bit, I guess. All right, cool. Okay, now we've got a quick sketch of that. Let's go back to our questions. So that was really fun. Thanks for doing that with me today. Um, all right, so back to the regular camera. Okay, all right, let's keep going here, and I have some more fun questions. I think, let's see, actually, I think it's actually time to go into the lightning round. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Yeah.
Okay, I know you watch lots of the Nature Journal show, so you probably know some of these, but I tried to make up some different ones. So, all right, let's start with some of the easy yes or no short answer ones. So try to make them snappy, lightning-y. Is coffee an essential art supply?
No, but chai is.
Oh, okay. Is your creative space messy or neat?
Messy.
Okay. Does your family understand your nature journaling?
Sorta.
Okay. Would you rather nature journal with a group or alone?
Depends on the day of the week.
Pencil or pen?
Pen.
Okay. Which would be better at nature journaling, cats or dogs?
Wow. What?
Like just in terms of not in terms like their hands and feet, but which do you think would be better at nature journaling?
Cats, because they're like independent and have attitude, and they'll be all like, I'll do it my way. I'll do what I want.
Okay, great. Um, which character from Harry Potter would be best at nature journaling?
Somebody already said Severus Snape, which would have been my first choice too.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yes, again, Severus Snape. I have to agree with the former person.
Okay. Would you rather nature journal with the brain of a 9-year-old or a 99-year-old?
The brain of a 9-year-old, a lot more. I mean, 99-year-old, awesome, but 9-year-olds are full of questions, nothing but the questions, and I love questions.
All right. If any 99-year-olds are listening to this episode, don't be too hard on Yvea for answering that way. If you could nature journal anywhere on the planet, where would you want to nature journal?
You mean aside from where I already go?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can choose that too if you want.
I mean, I just love my restoration sites, but if I had to be like really, really weird and different, either on the side of a serpentinite cliff, that'd be really fun, which I miss, or on the bottom of the ocean floor.
Ooh, nice. Okay. If you could nature journal with anyone in history, who would you nature journal with?
Harriet Tubman.
Ooh.
Or, we could possibly have like Barack Obama join us. But yes, Harriet Tubman. I mean, I don't even know how many trips she made, but she led people to freedom through the woods without a map, like being able to use her own senses to guide people through the woods and kept them alive on that journey. She would she must have been able to see so many signs in the woods and know how to survive out there. I would love to nature journal with her.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. If you were stuck on a desert island and could only take 5 nature journaling supplies, what would you take?
Okay. My nature journal, a pen.
What kind of pen?
Oh, I don't even know. Something cheap, like one of these. This is a precise.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cheap and easy. My jeweler's loop.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, I only have 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
My X-Acto knife.
Mm-hmm.
And watercolor palette.
Okay. Heather made a really good point that Professor Sprout might be good to nature journal with too. Okay, if you could have a nature journaling superpower, what would it be?
Okay. It would be to be able to look, see, and perfectly render the proportions of anything.
Ooh.
I struggle with proportions so much. To be able to just like, it is there now. That would be so fabulous.
Nice. Okay, great. All right, good job in the lightning round. That was awesome. Super fun. You survived the lightning round. So just my last two questions here is, first of all, can you reflect back and think, is there anything that I didn't ask you that is important and people should know or you want to say something about?
Yes. I know that there's probably going to be a lot of transitioning coming up soon because of, people getting vaccinated and possibly some spaces opening back up. So I think that now is a good time to start thinking about where as a community we're going to go from here. How much of what we do is going to remain online and in person, and about accessibility, making sure that we remain accessible to a lot of people in a way that the internet's kind of made happen. But also facilitating people to have, to be able to meet people in person. So I'd like to sort of find a way, whether that be through pencil miles or something else, to kind of help create networks so that people can find out who lives close to them and be able to have nature journal chapters created all over. And I don't know how to facilitate that, but I think that that's something that we're going to really have to think about coming up soon.
Wow, that seems like that's a really, really important thing. Cool. All right, and similar to, maybe to what you said for that one is, what do you see as the future of nature journaling?
I think, and I know some people are already doing this, I think we're going to trend a lot more towards stewardship, especially as we see more huge changes. Like I know that some of the birds that we used to think were common are less common now. And like the monarchs are, I don't remember the stats, like 90% gone, or we're seeing that much less of them. So I think that we're going to start trending nature journaling towards a lot more things about stewardship. We won't be able to help it because the environment that we're trying to nature journal is going to change so much. And I think it can be a really powerful tool to help change the tide of how things are going. So I see that in
Awesome.
the future.
Wow, that is really powerful, and may it be so. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I feel like we could go. I have even like more things that we could have like nature journaled and done. I noticed. I wonder. It reminds me of with. So that was super fun. But thanks for making the time. And so everybody, go check out if you want to see more of what Yvea is doing and be part of Pencil Miles and Chill. Check out. Check out first of all Evea's YouTube channel. I'll just show that here again. And then, do you put the link to Pencil Miles and Chill ever in your YouTube videos?
Ooh, I haven't before, but maybe I can start doing that. That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
in the description or something. So that's Evea's YouTube channel. And then if you want to join in on Pencil Miles and Chill, the next one is on the 26th. And this is the link right here. And this video, you can find these links in the comments, or you can just rewatch the video and find them again. So thank you, everybody. I'm just going to say hi to some of the people who are on here. Thank you, Jean, Anetta, Mary E. just joined in, Suzanne, Heather Krellin joined in, also voted for cats. James Coleman came in. Thanks for joining. Jasmine, Melianne. Thanks everybody who joined. If I missed anyone, Christina, everybody, Linda, thank you. That was super fun. Yvea, thanks for joining. And hopefully we'll all see you on Pencil Miles and Chill coming up real soon.
Absolutely.
All right, bye everybody.